Just said, I will call the meeting of the Forest Preserve. Call the meeting to order. Start on the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ogalla. Zanfer. Lucis.
Here.
Balich.
Here.
Trainier.
Present.
Bull. Mueller.
Here.
Brizalone.
Here.
Cowan. Politis. Newquist.
Here.
Winfrey.
Here.
Secretary Freeman.
Present.
President Van Dyne.
Present.
We have 7, we have 4.
Thank you. Here we have the approval of minutes from the August 3rd meeting. Motion. Second. Questions on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Oh, we have to have. Oh, that's right. Thank you. Sorry.
Lucis.
Here.
Sorry, Ogalla. Zanfer. Lucis. Balich.
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
Bull. Mueller.
Yes.
Brizalone.
Yes.
Cowan. Politis. Newquist.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
We don't on the name.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Thank you. Okay, we'll start with the award of contract in the amount of $45,067.50 to INCAP from DeKalb for viewshed vegetation management.
Move. Second.
Previous. Second. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Next up is the award of contract in the amount of $885,426.70 to Conley Excavating of Morris for Lake Chatham Wood Preserve Phase 2 improvements. Motion, Mueller.
Second. Previous roll.
Second. Question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have awarded contracts in the amount of $86,960 to Miss Viz. That's an unfortunate name. Healthcare Chicago for the the Four Rivers Entertainment Interpretive Campus Improvements.
Motion.
Jackie?
Yeah,
Or let's
it
do the
is
second first.
motion.
Second. Okay.
It is an unfortunate name, and I see later on in the agenda, we have a rejection of a bid. Ralph, is this the first time they're gonna actually complete a project, or have they done stuff for us before? The name's so familiar.
Yeah, they have done work for
That's
us
right.
in the past out on the east side of the county. They are also the contractor for the bait shop construction.
Uh-oh,
So we're working through that project as well.
is everything going as planned with the bait shop?
A little bit slower than planned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
what I thought.
we had a few setbacks. Some of them were based on the drawings that were provided by the engineers originally. So once we sorted that out and sorted out the ordering of the actual prefabricated structure, everything's back on track now.
Do we need to encourage them to change their name to fit right?
Yeah, right. We could.
You guys aren't any good at the marketing. Come on. Other questions on your contract?
Stand out, so we won't forget it.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second.
Yeah, you had a motion a second. Previous.
Yeah, we have a. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have approval of ordinance 623, authorizing the dedication of Sand Ridge Savannah Nature Preserve Edition.
Move. Second.
Previous roll. Second. Questions? Jim?
You know, Rob, every time I look at this seems, I'm not sure I always understand the complexity of sands over there. And what do we own? State has oversight.
Right.
Can you maybe,
Sure.
and tell us how this affects what we're doing here and how it affects the.
Sure. So this area over here is, in southwestern Will County, we refer to kind of as the Braidwood Sands area. And it's a very unique, environment or habitat in the county. Very similar to one which is in eastern Kankakee County, also called Kankakee Sand, which is a national wildlife refuge. So we own 3 preserves here: Sand Ridge Savannah, Braidwood Dunes and Savannah Nature Preserve, and
So Lake Ridge is what, 300?
and Kankakee Sands. Sorry.
So Lake Ridge is what?
Braidwood is about 300. Sand Ridge is close to that as well, and Kankakee Sands is almost 500.
Oh, so we have over 1,000 acres.
Yeah, we have over 1,000 acres there. And then we immediately abut, that's called Wilmington Shrub Prairie, which is owned by the state of Illinois. A little bit north of there, and when I say a little bit, it's separated by one property. It's called Hitz Siding Nature Preserve. So there's really 4 existing state nature preserves within about a 2-mile radius of each other. So Kankakee Sands was acquired to bridge the gap between 2 of those, the Wilmington Shrub Prairie and Sand Ridge Savannah Nature Preserve. So what we're doing is dedicating that gap, dedicating that portion of Kankakee Sands, and really kind of making it a part of our Sand Ridge Savannah Nature Preserve. So what's the value of a nature preserve? We do have 11 of them under our ownership. It is an additional layer of protection for the property. And it allows us, it basically keeps us on task too, because now our management plans are reviewed by the Department of Natural Resources through the Illinois Nature Preserves Commission. So we work together, and it opens us up to different kinds of grant funding as well. But from a legal aspect, one of the benefits that I think is really indicative of why we do this happened about a decade ago when there was a discharge line from the nuclear plant that ran on the south side of Braidwood Dunes. That discharge line had rubber gaskets in the top to let air out.
Oh, I remember.
Well, those rubber gaskets started to leak, and they started to burp, as they said. And tritiated water from the nuclear power plant was released and ran into Braidwood Dune.
I guess it's plume.
Underground plume, yeah. Right.
Higher radiation.
Higher radiation water, and it does dissipate. It had, I want to say, if I remember correctly, like a 21-year life before it dissipated. But it was the state attorney general that stepped in and forced the hand of Exelon to make the corrections that they needed to. And we were the beneficiary of a large, well, they were mitigating the tritiated water, but they restored a large portion of Braidwood Dunes as part of that. So while we could have gone in there and thought, having the state come in, allows us that extra level of insurance.
So the state does have oversight.
They do. And
The
so
whole area.
they do. And so what the state can do in a case like that is they could have fined Exelon up to $10,000 per day until the tritiated water was mitigated.
But it's still be paying.
So they'd still be paying. But they're not. But they did make a lot of, a number of different mitigating projects, both on our property and off of our property.
I remember when I almost stood alone against Exelon. I did finally win people over.
Okay.
But, and then I noticed all the species that you have listed, which goes into the hundreds.
Hundreds, yes.
I'm empty, I'm going through, I'm going, maybe it's 1,000. I mean, it really is pretty unique.
It is, and
That many species.
right, and the area that we have, that we're dedicating has been more recently restored. There were some remnant habitat areas there, natural areas, but a large portion of it has been restored over the course of the last 5 years.
As far as access to the public, I mean, I know it's gotta be very limited. You know, I personally, I've never gone up there. I would like to go
Yeah.
up there and
I think.
bring my binoculars, thing is, see if I can see it by one eye.
I have
But, it doesn't have,
It does. So what we've learned, because in the beginning, we made some dedications without appropriate public access already in place or what they say reserved for. So we constructed the trail system and the access area back in 2014 or 15. And then we reserve the right to extend the trail system as part of this dedication. So the state is accepting the fact that we are going to extend the trail system through
and
that.
that's part of this agreement.
That's part of this agreement.
Thanks for
We have a motion and a second. Is there a previous?
I thought you got the previous too.
Introduce on the side.
We're using the voice vote.
Was there,
We just need the all in favor.
was there another question?
Not about that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, next up, we have approval of resolution 2213 authorizing, the submission of an Illinois Wildlife Habitat Grant application for the Romeoville Prairie Nature Preserve.
Motion, Trinier.
Second.
Previous roll. Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. We have approval of resolution 2214 authorizing license agreement 2212 with Cornerstone Services.
Motion Mueller. Second, Newquist.
Previous roll. Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Approval of resolution 2215 authorizing license agreement 2214 with 721 Parkwood LLC.
Motion, Trinier.
Second, Mueller.
Second for
Questioning.
Jackie?
Ralph, if I'm not mistaken, this is like right next to the DuPage Township Food Pantry. We're at 719 Parkwood, but I can't quite figure out where this land is. I looked at the picture that was provided and it wasn't helpful at all.
Yeah, so actually, if you go back to the couple of memos prior to that, the one which was 2213, the Wildlife Habitat Grant. If you look at the map there,
You've got one, a better map. I'll look at it later.
Okay,
Just-
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Oh.
opposed. I just wanted to, I couldn't figure out where it was.
yeah, yeah, it's a kind of a close-up map that you have there, but it's on the eastern, well, I should say the western side of Romeoville Prairie Nature Preserve. It's actually in an industrial.
I know, that's
Yeah.
where the food pantry is, at 719 Parkwood, and there's like an empty lot that we mow. And then I believe the next one is 721, unless I've got it backward, but again, the map wasn't high enough up
Yeah,
for me to figure out exactly what I was looking at.
yeah, we'll take a look at this.
And, it doesn't connect to anything except a parking lot of gravel, so it was very confusing, so I'll just look at the map.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is the approval of resolution 2217 authorizing the submission of an OSLAD grant application for acquisition of JC 50A1 and A2 in the Jackson Creek Greenway.
Motion, Trinier.
Second.
Previous roll?
Second,
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. Permission to advertise for full-time real estate manager.
Motion, Junior.
Second. Previous.
Here's roll call.
Second. Okay, question, Jackie?
Yeah, I thought they just hired somebody not that long ago. Did they just not?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
We skipped over.
Yeah.
An item.
Oh,
Where is it?
Let's see if it's on finance.
It is.
Oh, it's on finance committee, okay.
I was gonna say, I don't think we skipped anything. The real estate manager, am I nuts or did we hire some, well, yeah, I already don't know I'm nuts, but, did we hire somebody for this job like within the last week or two? It just seemed familiar.
We hired a supervisor for that position. So
Okay.
the supervisor of that department, this individual just recently resigned to take a position at Open Lands in Chicago.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Then we have the rejection of bid, $383,200 from Hippolyte for the dog park electronic gate improvement project.
Motion.
Second.
I have a question of this. So I know we talked about it before, the reason we went to bid for this. I mean, these prices are ridiculous, so I do think we should put this down. But remind us again why we felt that electronic, that scanning software was better than just allowing people to have their little dangly badge.
Because a lot of people don't wear their little dangly badges and they're in there. So what this allows us to do is to restrict the site to those permitted holders, as well as to track some data as far as use, the amount of use in each. So right now, we don't have anything to gauge that at all. So this also allows us to issue a permit to a person once. And then if they are repeat permit holders, we don't have to continue to issue permits. We just continue to have them in the system, so to speak.
So do we think that there's a lot of people using the dog parks who don't have permits?
Yes.
Okay. But not $383,000 worth of,
It's been complaint there.
okay.
Yeah. So if I could just add too, I was talking with Commissioner Frizzle before the meeting started. So this is our second attempt at trying to bid this. And when we didn't get the number of bids, we didn't get a lot of bids. And the price actually increased from the time before. We called the plan holders and we said, what's going on here? And the explanation that we got from a number of them was that the project itself was very diverse, but no portion of the project was large enough for any of the trades to take it on to general the whole thing. So we had a little bit of concrete, we had a little bit of fencing, we had the solar, we had the mechanisms on the gate. So it was because each one of those components was so small, and then the sites were so spread out all over the county, nobody really wanted to take it on. It seemed more of a pain. We talked with our planning folks, and what the approach we're going to take is to break it apart. So there are portions of the project that we can do independent. So the concrete work can be bid out and done separately by multiple contractors in different parts of the county. The fencing is the same way. It can be broken out and done by separate individuals across the county or separate companies across the county. And then the same with the gates and the lobbies.
So is there a park that we know is used, like it's the highest used park?
The two most used are Hamel Woods Dog Park in Joliet and the Wallen Lake Dog Park.
Okay, so have we considered just trying to do one or two of those ones first and see what the results are?
So in this proposal, we were going to do our three
Yeah, I
most
see that.
used, and which was Hamel Woods,
Messenger.
Wallen Lake and Messenger. I think that's a good idea, to try to utilize one, because the electronic gate, the problem that we have is that the electronic gate, if we could issue electronic passes, I should say, to everyone. so that everyone has access to that one park or two parks. or three parks. So our thought was just if half of our parks we had the gate, from just a operational standpoint, it made more sense to us to issue those key cards to everybody. So I think we'll still try to do more than one. I would try to do two or maybe even three, but we want to try to take this approach of breaking it apart first and see what happens with that.
Okay,
And those are all in the northern part of the county, so proximity is a little bit better. When you get to the dog park that we have out in the Crete area, you know, that one's way out there, and one down in Wilmington.
And then once someone has an electronic pass, let's say all the dog parks at some point has the mechanism, will they be able to use the same pass at all dog parks?
Yes.
other questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Previous wrong.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. We have no executive session. Ralph, did you have anything you wanted to do? No? Okay, so the next meeting date will be October 5th.
We have mentioned something.
We're on the items, or we'll go to the comments by commissioners.
Yeah, okay.
So comments from the public?
There were none submitted.
Okay. Comments by commissioners, starting with Judy.
Thank you. Sorry, Denise. I just wanted to mention two things. One, I wanted to ask about, when we have a school take a field trip, say to Isla Cache, I had somebody contact me and say they're still requiring the kids to wear masks. Is that true?
I don't believe we require that. It's not a requirement of the forces, or it could be a requirement of the school.
Okay, it's not. Okay.
But
I'll have them, who shall I have them contact you?
Lynn Kerchesky.
Lynn for
Yeah.
And then I did want to tell everyone, the Little South Cookstown Water Conservation District is having a farm practices tour. So you're going to, the tour is going to include grass waterways, contour terraces, field borders, wetland enhancements, food plots, substructures and more. A light lunch and water will be provided. It starts, you meet at the Gorman Farm and Momi at 10 a.m. And then it goes to our farm at 11:30, take a tour, and then lunch will be provided. So there's information here. If anyone's interested, I can give you some of the, I have some papers.
Jackie?
My question goes to Orland Lake. I remember when we first opened that park, there was some investigation as to whether or not we could do scuba diving there. And they said no, and I don't recall the reasons why, and I just wondered if you remember.
Yeah, our ordinance does not allow swimming. And so the only scuba that we've done there, we've done with the local fire departments and have done some training out there.
I asked, I've recently acquired my open water certification. I will not be here next week. I will be at the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh,
Scuba diving. It's never too late to learn a new skill. And I had to go to Kankakee, to the Hay Quarry to do my certification dives. And, it's a long drive. And we do have a dive shop in Plainfield, right downtown, and there's probably some others close by that I don't know about. And I just was wondering, if we would ever consider at least doing it for scuba programs, not necessarily just letting anybody in there to scuba dive, but through a training program.
I can't make that decision. That's ultimately a board decision.
Well, there you go, board. I'm putting it out there to you. That's
So, yeah, right now, our ordinance dictates that there's no swimming and scuba would be used.
I have been able to swim my entire life, not able to scuba. And to do it safely, you need to be trained and you need to get a certification card. So I wouldn't put it in the same category as swimming, but I could certainly understand how somebody might. But I wouldn't want to make it open to the public. I would want to make it a class that we offer in conjunction with the diving school. not just anybody going in there to look for old wrecks or something.
Right. Well, let me have a conversation with our visitor services director again, that's Lynn Chasky, and that, and Tracy would be involved in that conversation as well as Dave Barry also.
And it is a revenue producer. I paid $25 each day to dive in that quarry. There where I couldn't see a damn thing. I mean, this far in front, and that's it. I had to watch the person spins in front of me. I guess it was clear up through June, but then once it gets a little bit warmer, the water just really gets cloudy.
Wait a minute, Jim. Rachel's next.
How about I feel like the better she.
It's okay, Jim, go ahead. Stay on topic. Mine's on a different topic, so.
That's what, this is the same time. The other thing I would say, Jackie, into this committee and now, is that we've had these temperatures come up before. Some of it deals with the commercial for-profit making enterprises, programs of the Forest Reserve. These are the other issues that we've discussed in the past. So when you allow one, where does it kind of stop? You know, we had it with the photographers.
Right.
Did we think, we got it with people wanting to have.
We have kayaks out there.
Weddings and so forth, but, you know, but the kayaking is allowed. It's not necessarily somebody making money off going kayak. You know, so, when the discussion goes on, you just have to make that part of the discussion and are opening up forces there for commercial use. And how would they compensate? I think we did come up with something for the photographers.
There's a fee. Yeah, so photography, we have a fee when there's a commercial photographer, they have to get permitted, and as part of that, there's a fee. We do have a concessionaire that rents kayaks, but we take a portion of the proceeds from the rental. So we have looked at ways to allow some operations, but it's when it's consistent with what we're related to. So the kayaking is because we encourage kayaking.
So, even though I'm not necessarily opposed to what you're saying, I'm just saying it has a potentially other implications
Yes.
that should be part of the discussion when you talk about it. Thank you, Rachel.
Welcome. So I agree. I think that's a great suggestion, but my suggestion is going back to, first, I want to say I attended the last Food Truck Friday. Tracy and her husband was there, Ralph was there, the Nature Foundation was there, and it was great. One of the things that came up at this is that the Nature Foundation was providing alcohol for their VIP members. But then people came up and it was like, oh, well, can I buy some alcohol or can I become a member now? And the answer was kind of like, no, because then it may sound like we're selling alcohol, which I'm like, what's wrong with us selling alcohol if they're gonna raise money? And so when I first got on the board, I suggested that we do, like Wisconsin does this, their park district runs beer gardens and stuff like that. I think that this is a money revenue, generating situation. You're looking at me, you guys must have discussed this.
Well, I think, yeah, President and I might want to talk about it.
They put in Minnesota too. They have a beautiful restaurant in the middle of the
So
reserve.
what I want to suggest is, I mean, there are some parks that people do like to go and drink and enjoy. But I was suggesting maybe now that we have the one in Bolingbrook that has an actual foundation building there, you can control the alcohol consumption a little bit better. And you could pick one day a week, a Friday night or something, come enjoy wine and beer in your local forest preserve or whatever, and test it out and see if it does well, if we generate money, if we don't have incidences. Yes, we have to get a liquor license. I don't think that's the hardest thing for a government entity to do. So, and then maybe we can roll it out to some of these other ones. I still want to continue doing the Food Truck Friday, but ultimately, kind of to Jim's point, is these other commercial entities are making money. The Forest Preserve could be the ones making money. So I think long-term, that's something I'd like to move us towards. It was a very popular event this last Friday. Lots of people came out. They did a great job having entertainment, jugglers, music, kind of on and off. But we had a lot of people come out. It was also National Dog Day, so there were a lot of dogs. My daughter took her own dog, which was a little bit of a experiment, but it went okay. Nobody got bit, so it's good. So anyway, if we could maybe look at that, or Joe, maybe you want to comment on it.
Yeah, I guess if I can, on last Friday, Ralph and I and Chief Chapman went to a meeting. We had our quarterly meeting up in Lake County, and their facility was pretty phenomenal.
It is. It's very nice. I've been there.
And so we had our meeting and we're looking out through the glass, looking down at the lake, and they had a beach and also a beer garden.
See?
And somebody kept bringing up the beer garden, so
We like the beer garden.
Lake County invited us to come down and look at it. So after the afternoon, I had mentioned to Ralph, I would like to see if he could possibly find a location that we could bring to the board and maybe start that conversation, because it does make money. And it's something that the Lake County residents really do enjoy. And the kicker is that at the beer garden, they only sell craft brew
Right.
that is produced in Lake County.
Right, local. Well, we have plenty in, at least in Joliet, I don't know about the rest of the places, but we have plenty. And we've got wineries here now in Will County as well. So we could, if you wanted to do local stuff, we could do that. But I think in general, it'd be a good idea for us, at least test it out. And then if it goes well, roll it out to the other areas of the county.
It definitely, to tag on to your comments, would make sense up in our area, like the Naperville, Bolingbrook area. The total number of visitors is pretty big. I mean, and you've got a concentration of people all right there.
And we have people who come from DuPage County down to our forest preserves too. I've met people from Warrenville
Yep.
in our.
And a
preserves.
building to lock up the booze.
Yeah, and they always want to know do you have live music? Do you have live music? I'm like, we do. Watch the website. We have it all over the place. So I'm sure they like the beer too.
I missed Friday. I went smacking on set, but I always look forward to this food truck Fridays.
Julie and then Jim.
Thank you. So one of the challenges with scuba diving, offering and bringing it into our forest preserves would be Wayland Lake itself. It's small for use such as that. If we were to offer that, incorporate that into our programs, we would probably have to close the lake to boating for safety reasons. And I've seen some pretty large boats with motors. Remember, I called you that one day. I was stunned at the size of this boat that was coming in on a trailer. It was huge. And so that's a concern. And then the other thing to consider would be the liability. Scuba diving is there's a reason why insurance companies on their applications ask you if you scuba dive. And I mean, we would have to make sure that our insurance, if it's even feasible. So that is a concern with providing that type of an activity in our forest preserves. So just want to mention that.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, in relation to Lake County, I've been up to Lake County many times, visiting their forest reserve. Of course, they probably have a budget that's 10 times our budget, but I'm often saying, does Lake County print money? Money?
10,000 millionaires
Yeah, I know that's
back in 1989.
very wealthy, county. But they do these types of things at their facility they have, where they have the museum and so forth. If we were going to do it, and the name escaped me, but, the old Moose Island Rivers. Three rivers?
Four Rivers.
I mean, if you were going to have events like where you were gonna serve, make certain kinds of food and alcohol, then you have to have it in a facility like Four Rivers. I don't think you can do it all over.
No, that's what I'm suggesting at the new nature center we have in Bolingbrook. You haven't been
I
there.
haven't been yet. I guess-
You can go to Four Rivers too, but there's more people who go to the one in Bolingbrook.
I don't think there's parking there.
Yeah, there is. I think we need to look.
Well, yeah.
Well, my point is.
If he'll come, we can
It's
build it.
gonna be- You have to have it in a very specific place. And the point of our, is that it get moved all over the county. You know, so maybe you would have one if it was at like 4 hours during the morning. You know, for drinking.
Yeah, so they,
I understand, you know, I just think that, you know, when somebody wants to bring a six-pack of beer, lemons, 6 fries, very.
I didn't think it was a lot.
Sounds like this needs to go on the agenda for another
Well,
meeting.
I agree.
I will just say that, you know, having been in the liquor business at one point in my life,
Me too, Jim.
it is something that you don't really want to have to deal with. And yeah, you can make a few bucks, but there is a whole bunch of other issues, including security and so forth. And, you know, I'm not so sure I'm big on people drinking in our backside, so.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that statement. I think we have to remember we're a forest serving the park district. And what is the mission of our park district? Is it to turn it into an event center, bar and restaurants? Then get in the bar and restaurant business. I don't think that's the mission. Forest to serve. And all of those things that Jim were talking about, security, come with all of that to make what? Couple of $1,000, even if it's $30,000. I don't think you make that much. So I'm not in favor.
yeah.
Just one last comment, please, on the insurance part. I signed a waiver that basically said if I go out in the quarry and kill myself, nobody can sue anybody.
Except when the lawyer does.
Well, I know, you can't stop a lawyer, I get it, you know, you can't fix stupid either, but, you do sign waivers, and I mean, like, I had to initial a whole page. There must have been 6 paragraphs on there, I had to initial each one, basically saying, I kill myself, it's on me, not on them.
We did waivers for the bike
Yeah,
rides. What happened with that when the guy got killed?
Oh, yes.
So those-
Yeah, we still pay.
Right.
Other comments from commissioners? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion Mueller.
Second. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Gretchen, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
And now we'll just do a roll call.
Newquist,
Here.
Fritz, Tyson,
Yes.
Mitchell, Brooks,
Here.
Parker. Here. Mueller,
Here.
Pretzel. Berkowitz.
Here.
Weigel,
Here.
Trainier,
Present.
Coleman, Secretary Freeman, President Van Dyne.
President?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm substituting for Natalie today. She's traveling somewhere around this wonderful world. First item on the agenda is the schedule of bills.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Can we get a roll call on the bills?
Newquist,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
Mitchell, Brooks,
Yes.
Parker. Yes. Mueller,
Yes.
Pretzel,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
I know those maps.
All right, motion passes. Approval of minutes from the August 3rd, 2022 meeting.
No.
Previous,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Next up, executive session minutes, August 3rd, 2022. Can I get a motion?
No.
Second.
Previous roll.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. No old business, and my agenda looks a little weird now, if you can see. I have only half of the new business, so. The first item under new business is the approval of ordinance 625, amending the Forest Preserve District of Will County Procurement Ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Previous roll.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. And the second resolution, Annette is going to be abstaining from, so we're going to take a roll call on approval of resolution 22-14, authorizing license agreement 22-12 with Cornerstone Services, Inc.
Motion.
Second. Previous room.
Your roll call.
Yeah. And Annette, do you want to just say?
Yeah, the reason I'm saying I'm not opposed to it, I'm on the board for Cornerstone, so I'm going to be abstaining.
Thank you. And a roll call.
Newquist,
Yes.
Fritz, Tyson,
Yes.
Mitchell, Brooks,
Yes.
Parker, abstain. Mueller,
Yes?
Pretzel,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
We have 9 and not abstaining.
Very good. Motion passes. Item number 3, approval of resolution 22-16, authorizing the acquisition of parcel SDP 1A1 in the South Des Plaines River Resource Area.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
We'll need to do a roll call.
Yeah, we're gonna do another roll call.
Newquist,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
Mitchell, Brooks,
Yes.
Parker. That's the question.
Yeah.
So where is the funding coming from?
That's from the capital improvement program.
It's a little time, don't it?
Mueller,
Yes.
Pretzel,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes. And the motion passes. Number 4, approval of a collective bargaining agreement with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150.
Motion Mueller. Second Newquist.
I have a question.
Sure. Gretchen.
Not a question, it's a comment.
Sure.
On page 31 of the agreement, it's page 34 in the PDF of the agreement, but it's page 31 with the December. It's under the, drug alcohol testing, number G.
there's a mistake. Says test results showing an alcohol concentration of 0.04 or more shall be considered positive. However, nothing shall prohibit the employer from using test results between 0.02 and 0.39. It should be 0.039.
0.39.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Thank you. Wow. Do we need to do an amendment? This is just a correction.
Thanks. I was just doing, you go ahead.
If it's just a note to be made, then the revision can be made for approval to the board next week. So it'd be fine, with just perfect.
All right, so we have a first and a second. Can I get a previous?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approval of employee benefits as negotiated by the Government Insurance Network, which I hope to check out. So Ralph, I need a tutoring lesson about this, because I think our township might want to check it out.
Second?
Previous roll.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody have any questions? I didn't see anything, so, those opposed, same sign, and the motion passes. The 2023 draft budget is number 6, and I'm sure Ralph is gonna have something to say,
Oh, I do.
but let's get a motion first.
Motion.
This would just be before the board for discussion. No action would be taken.
I take back my motion, but should take it back. Who's got questions? Raise your hands. Okay, Ralph's just gonna talk.
Okay, so, we're presenting our 2023 budget for corporate fund, our construction and development fund, and then all of our other funds as well. You will note, or I should note, that we do have a $1.85 million drawdown from our fund reserve as part of this budget. 850,000 of that is the second installment for the purchase of the Hidden Oaks Nature Center. And we are seeking a $1 million drawdown for improvements to Hidden Oaks and the Hidden Oaks site. Just as a side note on fund balance, because we've had some discussion about it before, we currently have about a 10-month fund reserve. With this drawdown, that would take us to about an 8-month fund reserve. We utilize our fund reserve because we rely primarily on tax receipts, real estate taxes for our budget. And we draw off of that reserve for the first 6 to 7 months of the year before our tax receipts start to catch up and we actually come into the black on our budget. So we're comfortable with an 8-month reserve and feel that gives us a sufficient amount of buffer there. So in the budget itself, you'll note that there is an increase in the budget again. It's largely due to the $1.85 million fund reserve. Our property taxes make up about $16.6 million of the budget itself. We also include replacement taxes, permit fees and licenses, other income, and BAS rebate make up the revenue for the Forest Preserve District through years. On the expenditure side, personnel accounts for about 58.68% of our budget. I would note that that's low for a government agency to be below 60%. Actually, many are above 70 and some even higher than that as far as their personnel costs. What that allows us to do is to utilize more funds for contractual and capital expenditures, which is good for the taxpayers and our sites as well. Contractual accounts for about 16% of our budget. Commodities, about 3.5%. Capital is 8.2%, and miscellaneous, which includes those fund reserve drawdowns, about 13.5%. We did include on the personnel side, it does include a 2.75% increase to our bargaining unit members, which was just approved as part of their capital improvement collective bargaining agreement. It also includes a 2% increase for our bargaining unit in police department, and then a 2 to 3% pool for non-bargaining unit employees. We did recognize a reduction in our costs for IMRF this year. In health insurance, it's largely, it is unchanged largely on the non-bargaining unit side, but there was a 5% increase on the bargaining unit side. Our bargaining unit employees, both police and maintenance and operations, receive their benefits through the on a contractual side, it is an increase of approximately $26,000 over last year's budget. And again, contractual costs are about 16% of the budget. Commodities wise, we had a decrease of about $24,000, so an offset of that cost there. And it amounts to about 3.4% of the budget. In our capital, we have $1.748 million. This is about a $300,000 increase from the previous year's budget. Miscellaneous, in miscellaneous, that's our infrastructure. I'm sorry, I had just reported that before. That's the $1.85 million for the drawdown from fund reserve. Our infrastructure maintenance and replacement program, we're proposing to put $450,000 into that fund to offset the costs of infrastructure improvements in 2023. Our grants and capital projects fund, if you look at the comparables between last year and this year, there's quite a difference. We do expect to receive a number of grants. Most significantly, we have included $3.5 million in ARPA funding in that grant fund. We run all of our state and federal grants and our partnerships through that fund for auditing purposes, keeping them all in one place. It's easier for both us and our auditors to track. Our health insurance trust, we are proposing $400,000 contribution for benefits there. The required minimum or the minimum suggested as annual required contribution minimum is $314,000. So we're a little bit higher than that, but the $400,000 is consistent with what we've been doing for the past several years, just trying to build up that fund. Our computer replacement fund has a $75,000 contribution there as well. And then in our capital improvement program, we are will recognize about $12 million carryover. Those are projects, capital projects that are in progress. So engineering is in progress on those, or there is some funding there for land acquisition. Overall, we anticipate a 2.62% decrease in the property tax rate. This budget does include an estimate for new construction. We are a little bit ahead of the county in the predictions, the calculations of what new construction is. So we took a conservative estimate of an average over the past 3 years of what that new construction was in developing this budget. If that new construction increases, and we should have the number by mid-September, that decrease in the overall tax rate would go up. The decrease would go up. It would be a higher decrease. So we'll know a little bit more the middle of this month when we get that information from the county. So with that, questions?
Thank you. This is great. I do have a question about the miscellaneous of 2.5 million. Could you go over what that is? It had increased.
Yeah, so the increase was twofold. One is the $850,000 payment, second payment for Hidden Oaks. That was a contract purchase.
Right.
So that's in there. And then a $1 million drawdown for a capital project that would be at the Hidden Oaks, Hidden Lakes site.
So it's got 2.573 or something.
Right.
So what's the other million?
Those are all the fund transfers.
the miscellaneous, we have to, account for the expense of that. So that's the transfer to the vehicle replacement fund, the IMRP fund, the computer reserve fund, our OPEB contribution.
Okay, so they're all kind of lumped in.
They're all
Okay,
together.
all right, thank you.
Yes.
Tom,
Do you know where you can take any CPI this year?
The CPI was calculated at 7.7%. We do not take 7.7%. We calculated CPI at 5%.
So, Jack,
Do you know what we took last year on the CPI?
We took 1.1 and it was 1.4. The full CPI was 1.4. We took one.
That seems really high.
go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, so I
Unless you're not done, Tom, go ahead.
Oh,
Were you finished?
It seems a little high, but we're taking that much CPI.
Inflation's at 9% right now.
Right.
It is high.
Okay, go ahead, Judy.
sorry, I forgot. What did you say new construction was?
We estimated,
Then I know that's.
yeah,
Seven.
I did not give that number. Estimated new property is 342 million.
Oh, what, okay.
Oh.
What percent
Oh,
increase?
Lisa, did you calculate a percentage on when you did that estimate on new construction?
I did not. I used the same figure that we had last year because, we didn't estimate it. What that new figure would be. County will get that to us in about 2 weeks.
Oh, so we
So
don't.
I did a conservative estimate,
Sure.
with the same as last year, but I do expect that to increase.
That was
342.
342. And we're taking 5% of CPI. And then one more thing, is it possible for us to see, we have fiscal year budget for 21, is it possible to see the actuals for 21? And I know 22, we're still in a flux, but like what percentage of the year have we spent certain things? You know, some things we spend a lot up front, and then some things we don't pay till the end or whatever. So if we could see those values, that would be helpful.
Actuals on 21, Lisa?
And 22, I mean, what we've spent so far, can we get that?
I can try to, yeah.
I mean, we budget, the budget is, we're gonna, Mimi and I are going to lunch, and we're gonna spend $50, but we decided to have wine, so we exceed that budget.
Actuals for 2022 are in your, monthly, financial statement that you receive for the board,
Okay,
broken out by departments or by funds, I should say. Document is scanned and reporting of this, the actual for current year.
okay, can you just send that to me separate then, so that I can find it?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other?
Just a quick question. On the corporate fund, I see the property taxes in corporate are up about $500,000. If for 2023, is that coming from the 5%? It's assessed value.
A portion of that,
Okay.
yeah. So that CPI and the new construction split between corporate and.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Because I have a question. Have we done an analysis on our expenses for last year versus this year? Have we literally seen a 5% increase?
We're starting to, in some areas, yes, in other areas, not yet. So we negotiate gasoline and electric for a 1-year period. Those both come up this coming year. And so we have a lower rate on both electricity because we're locked in gasoline right now. And that will increase as soon as we renegotiate those.
I have noted gas has come down considerably, and on my drive back from Michigan, I realized, boy, you really want to buy gas in Michigan. It's like 60 cents cheaper.
I think what we're paying right now for unleaded gasoline for about $2 and 50 cents.
Oh, is that how low we are right now? And this came up in the county's budget, even though we're under an electric contract, it's like, there's like a base amount. And then they're allowed to fluctuate, at least that's the way it was kind of explained to us. Is ours actually locked in, or is it a base amount plus the,
We're locked.
totally locked in.
Right.
Okay.
Until next year.
Interesting. And I don't know that what was mentioned at finance, that Howie is absolutely correct, but our finance director, I don't know, budget director, I don't know what Rashawn's title is, but she was talking about how it still fluctuates. We're only locked into a certain part of it, and then there's still some fluctuation.
Yeah, that's not the case with our contract.
Gretchen?
So, could you tell us, what it was the 2021, budget dollar total and 2022 compared to 2020?
Yeah, 2021 budget total on the corporate, or I guess I should probably give you the full, was 31,965,106. The 2022 is 32,191,140, which is a difference of about 215,000.
Any more? Jim?
Yeah, well, I want to ask you about, the Southern Town cash reserve. First, we got a bond issue. And I'm assuming some of that money hasn't all been spent. Correct. Wasn't this what that bond issue was for? Why would we be using taxpayers
Yeah.
versus the bond proceeds? And bringing down the cash reserve. It's kind of like deficit spending.
Well, yeah.
Deficit spending and expenses versus revenue.
So when we sold the bonds, we had a very specific set of projects, which was presented to you and which we're still working on. We don't think it's appropriate to take money from those projects to spend on projects that weren't contemplated at that time. We acquired Hidden Oaks last year, and Hidden Oaks was not included either in the acquisition or in the development side of that bond issue.
Well, let me just say disagree.
Okay?
We, the Forest Service District, have changed these acquisition projects, have added, subtracted, put in, we're never even gonna get it because we're not only sellers. I personally would prefer come out of the bond issue and maintain the cash reserve where it is. And if every project ever goes through, there's still that option that we do get some cash reserves or build up other funds under capital for additional purchases. So, that's what I think would be a better approach. And let me say that, so that's on that issue. And, as everybody here is aware, we're going to 5%. If we could, some of us would go to 7%, but we're capped by law that we can't exceed 5%. And, I find it interesting that, that we would even say, well, the inflation is higher than that. Like, yeah, so we should add to the inflation
Right.
to the consumer, because here's what's going to happen to the average household. Your property values have gone up because of inflationary pressures, whatever. So now their house has gone up maybe, 10, 15% in the last year. So now they're gonna get a higher, they'll wind up a higher assessed valuation. And then they're gonna have to tax. Their tax bill is going to be more, even if the rate is slightly less because of the value of the property. And I know this can shift township to township depending on how assessors are evaluating, but this we're about riser assessment equals it all out in the end. I put multipliers on. So don't think this is not going to be a tax increase to the taxpayer. And I don't think that, you can say that inflation is 7%, but you got housing in there, a bunch of other things in there that don't affect government. Food. And so, we might have gas, and by the way, gas is coming down, so I don't think we're gonna get clobbered in the next contract either, it'll be more. But anyways, I'm just pointing out that, you know, it's not as simple for our residents as sometimes we present here. They are gonna pay an increase. So we just kind of pile on the inflation that they're enduring now. So I think we should be mindful of that. When we can. Thank you, Jim.
Go ahead, Rachel.
So to the bond, issuance, in there, we had stuff for the lot across from the prison initially. And I know I brought that up and Hazard has looked into it and we're still in negotiations. If that's an area that does not look like we're gonna be moving forward, although I really do want to move forward and put some aggression on the state to give us that property, that might be an area where, you know, maybe we have the reserves earmarked for that if you want to use bond dollars to pay down the property we just bought. Only because that particular part of the bond proceeds are kind of locked up until the state gives us permission to buy that property. That would be the only exception, I would say, but if Brent Hazard says, oh, no, wait, the state said, yeah, we'll move forward with it, then no, we should take the money. Generally, I think it is good practices to, if we've gone to bond for these projects, that we hold those dollars for this project. But obviously, if one project cannot move forward, then those dollars should just sit there forever. But anyway, well, we can also put more pressure on the state too.
And I agree with you and I'll think with Commissioner Moustis, just so that everybody knows how we manage those funds. As Commissioner Moustis pointed out, projects, from a land acquisition standpoint, they come in and they go out. So we designate a certain number of projects at the beginning. We actually designate more projects than we have funding for because we know that we're not going to be successful with certain projects. And then we start down the list. And as we acquire those properties, the funds associated with land acquisition start to go down. When we exhaust that list, because we've either acquired the properties or the owners have been unwilling to sell or to meet our price, that project goes off and the next one comes off. So we've added sites in, or they've moved up the list. And so that's when we come back to you and seek permission to negotiate because, hey, project fell off, we need to add a new project in. So that's how the land acquisition side works. On the development side, we start with projects that are moving forward first, you know. And then as we start spending those funds, what happens is any project that goes over budget eats away a little bit at those projects below, and any project that comes in under budget eats a little bit at those projects that are below. But we maintain that consistent list, and the projects at the bottom of the list are the ones that we can't move forward with, like the Joliet prison, start to get eaten away at. And so where we may have started with $1.5 million project or designation for that project, each time a project comes in that's over budget, it's going to eat away at that $1.5 million.
So you're saying there wasn't gonna be money for that project anyway?
Well,
not.
probably not by the time we're done. Because what we're seeing is construction projects are coming in some cases, 20 and 25% higher than both our engineers' estimates and what our estimates were when we put the bond together. And so that's just kind of the way that it works, is you're working over time.
The prices when we took the bond 2 years ago are way different today.
Right.
Was it 3 years ago?
It should.
Any more questions?
Just make a comment. So I was going to say most of what Jim said, but I thought I'd hang on to it so I had time to look at all the numbers and everything like that. I'm sorry, I don't know if that sounds odd to you guys, but to me, it sounds very obvious. Because my allergies are insane right now. But I think I'm much like Jim, you know, it's just like the cost for our everyday resident is going up, and taking 5% of CPI plus new construction will be a burden, an additional burden, because every tax economy says, wow, look at all this money we can get. We should probably take as much as we can. And I don't support that. I think we should look at what we have and make our budget as small as possible, because of the fact that we're asking our taxpayers to fund all of that. And we do it on a regular basis. And as a whole, we don't increase our salary, mostly, I'm assuming people don't vote for increase, so that we not continue to add more and more to the tax burden of our residents. We hear every day that our residents, many residents are leaving because the taxes are so high. Yet every taxing body doesn't take the time to say, we need to do something about it. Somehow we have to figure out what we need to do and what we can cut and where we can cut so that we can go to the taxpayer and say, we feel your burden. We understand this inflation is happening right now. Possibly next year it'll flatten out. Hopefully it will flatten out some and give them some relief. I don't know what salary increases are included in this budget. I know the union is a contract thing. I don't know our non-union employees or how many we have and what their salary increases. And it's the same in the private sector, you know, when time to talk, you just don't even give salary increase. And when I work in the private sector, I actually at times my salary is decreased. So I think we need to look at what we have as a budget, it's a presentation, look at what we have and see if there's any way that we can make some cuts so we're not taking 5% plus new construction. Thank you.
And, well, one more comment. and then-
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's not necessarily all inflation, it's the hard number of the budget. We didn't increase our budget by $5 million. So, I mean, if you look at last year's budget to this year's budget, I see what you're saying, Judy, but the only way that you decrease is to actually cut that raw number. Like, ignore all the inflation and the rates and all that. If you spend $100,000 this year, next year, you're probably gonna spend more than $100,000 because yes, inflation goes up. The only way to cut that is you spend $90,000 the next year, which means you have to cut 10,000, including whatever inflation rates are. So I don't think that the forest preserve is like wildly out of place because there's a lot of money, so we're gonna go out there and keep the rate the same and just bring in millions of more dollars. We're not doing that. Setting our budget, that raw number, pretty similar to last year's number, and then adjusting the rate to meet that budget number.
Go ahead, Jim.
Ralph and Lisa, our budget meeting that we had the other afternoon, what was surprising to me, can you explain the difference between a 5% CPI and 0 in actual sense to the resident? Wasn't it like, we're say 42 cents a year or something to that effect?
On the average of you said it's like an average price of a $250,000 house, I think is what we figured it.
Yes.
You should probably raise that to 350.
So, sorry, $250,000 house. Things as they're presented right now, the tax bill for the forest preserve portion goes down slightly more than $3 as presented with 5%. If you go to no CPI, it goes down about $5. And if you went to half of the CPI, so 2.5%, the difference between 5% and 2.5% for CPI is 42 cents on the tax bill for $250,000.
My numbers were also from 5% to 2.5 was 42 cents.
42 cents, yeah.
From 5 to 0 was $2.
From 5 to 0 was 5.
Oh, $5. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, from last year, not from 5 to 0, from last year's tax. So I would just last year's, what was actually voted on and levied, and it was from last year.
Okay.
I would just say the average price of a house needs to be at least 300,000 now.
I have those figures.
Is that really, it's still 250?
Not in District
It
1.
was like 300.
Yeah.
Figured out.
Yeah, I would say that's probably closer to a reasonable number. Mike, you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, 250 is a nice number to use, but that 250 house is probably gonna be reassessed at about 300,000 the way things are going.
Yeah, I really, yeah.
That's why you have to use that higher number and compare it to a lower number for this year as the assessments go up. And we had this discussion every time. Yeah, it's $2 more here, it's $5 more there, it's $10 more there. And they get the bill and they go, $300 more. How did I get $300? Now, Steve, as a supervisor of Homer Township, is all excited because the township's gonna go down whatever, 50 cents. I said, when people get their bill, they're gonna say, it went up $300, you're at fault. I'm going up $300. So, you know, it's an all-in contribution to the whole. It's not just one little piece. That's why when Jim said us during this inflationary times, we're just piling on. And the schools are gonna do it, and everybody else is gonna do it. They're gonna tax the max. It's all said and done. Might be 42 cents from us, might be $3 from somebody else. It's gonna be a couple $100 more. When I talked to our supervisor of assessments, she said that for the most part, most people are gonna see a 10% increase in their taxes because of the assessments. So they're expecting 30 to 50,000 people coming in trying to protest their taxes this year. And it's just part of the reason that Rhonda said it's coming. They figure they're gonna see 10% increases. It's gonna be part of it.
Yep, so again, this is, we saw 42 cents different, $5 difference. If you want our tax revenue or our budget to go down, it's not the CPI or the new construction, it's the budget numbers. What items on here would you propose to cut? That's it. That's the conversation. If you want the tax bill to go down, I'm not, look, I could be in favor of bringing the tax bill down, but that means which of these items on here are we not gonna prioritize this year? Are we not gonna bring in more land? Are we not gonna pay for some of these positions? We can't do the raises because people have to live and pay their bills. So which contractual thing on here do you wanna cut? That's what it really comes down to. It's not about inflation and CPI. It's how much money does the Forest Preserve want to spend this year? You don't want to spend almost 16 million, great. Where do you want to cut? So I guess bring those suggestions next week or whatever we are actually voting on this, because that's the real discussion. If it is taxing the max and all that, it's just messaging. And it's not really moving us where you want to be. So if you want to cut something, you're gonna have to come with real cuts. And we're gonna have to discuss those line by line and decide, do we want to cut that or not? And at the end of the day, we end up with the exact same budget of 15.8. The numbers work out how the numbers work out after that. You have to look at the actual raw numbers of the budget and say, is this what the Forest Preserve wants to spend in 2023?
Sure, because that's why I want to see all the actual numbers from 21, and I do want to see what percentage we're using of our budget from 22 already. And the most amazing thing is, all I hear is affordable housing, affordable housing, affordable housing. Slap me upside the head with affordable housing. Housing, rents, everything, it goes up because if the property tax goes up along with everything else we get as a renter, that increases that. So if every taxing body doesn't say, listen, we need to stop and look at what we have here today and how we keep moving forward, because last year we raised about this year, it just keeps accumulating and accumulating. And I know our budget goes up. Don't tell me I know that. Not everybody's salary is increasing. So we're increasing our salaries and our staff, but the private sector is not getting an increase. In many places.
They are getting.
Not all, yeah. Okay. Well, I know people who are not getting any increases, but all I know is I hear this affordable housing, I hear all this stuff. I hear for the people who have been disproportionately impacted, blah, 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 blah. It has everything to do with it. It has absolutely everything to do with it. The messaging from you guys is one thing, and then we see the actions on these budgets and completely the other. And taking full 5% or CPI, whichever is the lowest, and we jump right to 5%. This happens year after year after year. And saying the rate goes down is really, it really never, ever decreases my property tax bill.
So what would you like to cut?
Then I want to see all those numbers. That's right. We want to see those numbers. I want to have it looking at it right next to each other so that I can look and make some decisions.
That sounds wonderful. Okay, anything else on the budget? All right, I think we're done with that conversation. We have some reports and so forth. Nope, executive session. Do we have anything?
No.
Okay, and then reports, and our next meeting is October 5th. And comments by the public. Yeah, thank you.
Never done something.
That's not anything. I don't know. Comments by commissioners. Do we have warnings? No, no comments? Okay, Ralph, do you have anything for him?
No.
Okay, then I'll motion to adjourn. Motion.
Somebody second.
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 All in favor? Aye. Those opposed, you can stay.
I like to see it from that.